there, I'm Jamie Brown with JaimLeMaman.com, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit more about something called the CBTL, or the Coffee Bean Tea and Leaf Company. This is a machine, apparently they call it the Americano, that I picked up at Bed Bath & Beyond. I had never heard of it, I didn't plan on buying it, but I went there to pick up an espresso machine for my husband, and if you saw my other video, I talked about how this compares to 4 other espresso machines that I ended up coming home with, because it turns out that Bed Bath & Beyond has a phenomenal return policy where they will let you buy something, take it home, try it out, and then within 30 days, if you bring it back with the receipt, you can actually return it for a full refund. So with their blessing, I bought a few different machines to come home and compare them to each other. And this guy, they had him on sale for $50. So I said, hey, I should definitely give it a try because my other machines ranged in price from $170 up to $400. So $50 was a steal. What makes him even more awesome is that he doesn't just make espresso either. He also makes tea and coffee. He doesn't make cocoa, which I am a huge cocoa fan, so that was kind of a bummer. But he does make espresso, tea, and coffee. He also doesn't come with a milk frother, so I don't drink espresso straight. I drink it as a latte or a cappuccino. So I'm going to use this separate milk frother for demonstration purposes to show you how I can certainly make those cafe beverages here at home using this machine and then a separate milk frother. So at first glance, what's great about him is he's a pretty compact machine. He doesn't take up a ton of counter space. He's narrow and kind of a little bit deeper than he is wide. And he has a detachable water reservoir. It comes off the back like this, and then there's a top to the water reservoir, so you can fill it like directly, or you can keep the top on, and there's a little spout, so you could just pour water into the spout if you didn't want to remove the whole thing. So that was really convenient. Sits right on there, pretty easy. And then he's got the lever on top so that you can put your pot in, close the top, and then he's got a few selections here. So unlike the Tassimo, which is the other brewer that I reviewed that makes both coffee and espresso as well as tea, well the Tassimo does all of those. He does not have a barcode reader, so he's not going to automatically know what you're putting in. You have to use the buttons to tell him what you'd like. So if you drop in your little pod here, you're then going to have to pick between a short pour espresso, a long pour espresso, an 8, a 10, or a 12 cup of coffee, or you get a, not 8, 10, or 12 cup, an 8, 10, or 12 ounce cup of coffee, or a 9 ounce iced beverage, which is a pretty nice option here so that you have the option to brew it with the intention of icing the beverage. You can see over here, these are the 2 boxes of pods that I picked up at Bed Bath & Beyond as well. I purchased the decaf espresso and the decaf coffee so that I could give those a try. You can see they're labeled kind of down here for what they are, and they give you a nice little range indicator for how dark or light the roast is. So that was very helpful. And then you can go online to pick from. There's about 25 other options that it's like, 8 teas, 8 coffees, 8 espressos, and a few decaf options, something like that. So there's a wider selection. It's certainly not, 4 pods to choose from, but it's also not the hundreds of pods that you're going to get from Tassimo, because as far as I know, the CBTL is the only brand of pod. They work with Cafe Italy, but they don't work with, like Starbucks or Green Mountain Brewers or other roasters. I think that they only make their own brand of pods, so that's why you have that slightly limited selection. Other quick things, you can pop this guy off and raise him up, or maybe you can't. Yeah, there must be a separate guy, but these holes allow you to raise the tray so that you can accommodate different sized mugs. And then this whole thing pulls out so that you can empty your pod container. So it's got a little container there that catches the used pods, which is nice, so you don't have to throw them away every time. So without further ado, I'm going to, let's see, I plugged him in. Let me turn him on. There's a little switch over here. I'm going to turn him on so you guys can again see how long it takes to heat up. It's blinking. I think it turns solid red when it's ready to go. So once it turns solid red, I'll drop an espresso pod in there. and show you how that brews, and then I'll drop a coffee pod in and show you guys how the coffee brews as well. So he's still flashing. I'm just going to wait a little bit. One other thing I didn't mention is that when you do close the lid here, this little lever is kind of plasticky. Well, he is plastic. He's made of plastic. So sometimes I just get a little concerned that if the pod is harder than it's supposed to be, there's a chance that that lever might break when you're trying to close it down. So you can see some steam is coming out, and our buttons have stopped flashing. So I'm going to take, not this because he's the coffee pod, and I'm going to take an espresso pod, which is black. I'm going to drop him in, and I'm going to put a little pressure on there to pop the holes in the pod, and then I'm going to hit the short pour. All done. So it was a little loud, you could hear, but it was certainly quiet, or quick enough, not quiet enough. So I'm going to open that top back again. Again, you could feel and see that there's a little bit of effort that you have to put into pulling that back. So I just get a little worried that since it's kind of made out of thin plastic, that might not last too long. So I'm going to add my milk. Some froth. Again, this is a separate frother. It doesn't come with the machine. It's something that you can buy. This particular brand is the Espresso frother. I just happen to have it on hand, but there's a few different ones you can choose from. And that's how you can get your little cafe beverage. Separately, I do want to show you that it makes a coffee. So I pulled the handle back, that automatically dropped the pod down into the collection tray below. I'm going to add a coffee pod in now and close in on him. And then I'm going to make a 8-ounce cup of coffee. And I'll enjoy my latte while I wait. Goes well with lattes, cookies. Ow. Apparently the water is hot when it comes out. Anyways, if you don't burn yourself, the water dripping down, you can enjoy a lovely coffee. So that's pretty much the CBTL in one concise video. There's not much to talk about, you know. You drop your pod in, goes out. There's the different options. There's no milk frothing or anything else. You've got your water container. I don't believe there's an inline filter, or at least not one that I could easily see. And then you've got your on-off switch over here. It does not have an auto off feature. And that's it. So if there's anything I missed, then leave it in the comments and I will absolutely try to get back to you. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.